Dubey sir, you can unmute and start video.
Okay. Okay. So we'll just watch a short video of 30 minutes. Christie's talks on living and death. So let me share the screen with you. Give me half a minute. Can you see this?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay. We can begin.
The desire to achieve is essentially based on comfort, pleasure, satisfaction, gratification. And what we are going to deal with this morning does not need any kind of effort at all. Because effort exists only when there's contradiction. Contradiction within.
The speaker is Krishnamurti, whose unorthodox and challenging approach to fundamental philosophical and religious questions has made him one of the more stimulating and authentic voices of our time. This is the 7th of 8 programs filmed with Krishnamurti in the Ojai Valley in California, and it represents the first time that Krishnamurti has allowed his talks to be filmed.
And it is these contradictory desires that bring about conflict. The wanting and not. What is and what should be. The what is trying to conform to a pattern of what should be. And so there is always conflict. And apparently that's part of our daily existence. From getting up in the morning, going to the office, struggling till we go back to bed. And from the moment we are born till we die, there is this constant effort and battle. And to make effort, to get rid of effort, is still further effort. The things that we're going to discuss this morning, as I said, needs no effort at all. What it needs is a total perception of the whole process of love. And to perceive this whole phenomena of life, one needs energy. And that energy is denied when there is this drive, this effort to achieve something. You know, it's only when the cup is empty that it can be filled. It's only when the mind and heart are totally empty then it can comprehend and it can live. But to be so completely empty is not a negative phenomenon. On the contrary, it is the highest form of intelligence. It's the highest form of love, to be so completely empty, so that there is not a scratch of memory, not a word, not a conclusion that distorts perception. And what we are going to discuss or talk over together this morning demands a quality of mind that has no fear of any kind. So one has first to understand fear. Because what we are going to discuss is this problem of death. And to understand this enormous problem which has faced man from the beginning of time, one has to be free of fear. There are so many forms of fear. Fear of darkness, fear of what somebody says, fear of being hurt, fear of insecurity, fear of loneliness, and the ultimate fear, which is death. Fear, in every form, is thought in action with regard to the past, through the present and to the future. I am afraid of what will happen. And I'm afraid of something I have done in the past, which I want to cover up. So fear is the movement of thought. And it's very important, if we will be free of fear, to understand this movement of thought, which is essentially the process of thinking. The actual living present, the now, is the result of yesterday and 1,000 years. So there is no actual now. And fear is this movement of time, which is the product of thought. When I am confronted with something dangerous, immediately, there is no fear. I act either foolishly, ignorantly, but there is action. But give time and into, then thought comes into operation. Then I'm afraid. I'm sure each one of us has various kinds of fear. Take one of them, bring it out in the open, and look at it. And how you look at it matters immensely. First, do you look at it as though it was something outside, as something which is not you, but something which is placed outside? So there is the observer, and fear is something outside of it. So there is this duality, this contradiction. I am not afraid, but there is fear, which I must overcome. I must do something about that thing which I call fear. So the observer is different from the thing observed. And is there a difference? There is no difference, you examine. The observer is the observer. That is, the observer is the center of accumulated memory, experience, knowledge, information, and so on. The sense, the observer. He or it is aware outside of himself something which he calls fear. And he is making constant effort to run away or translate or transcend or suppress that fear. The more the tension between the observer and the fact of fear, the greater the effort, the greater the desire to escape, to run away, to cover up. And if you cannot run away, one becomes neurotic. Because the tension becomes so intense. And to live in that intense darkness of fear is a state of neurosis. But as we said, when the observer is the observed, not an idea, but a fact, then there is no effort at all. Because then there is no contradiction. I am fear. And what can I do? Please follow this. When the observer is the observed, and the observer has always acted as though the observed is something different from himself, then he could act. But when he realizes that the observer is the observed, all action ceases on his part. And therefore all effort. And therefore there is no fear at all. This requires a great deal of inward inquiry, inward observation, step by step without coming to any conclusion. And when there is no fear, because the observer is the thing which he has externalized as fear, of which he is himself, then this action, which was positive, that is doing something about fear, then the observer is the observed in that state that's complete in action. And that complete inaction is the highest form of action. So there is no effort at all. It's only the dull mind, the mind that's committed, the mind that is achieving or not achieving, that is in constant battle, struggle, effort. And this effort, the struggle, is considered a positive way of life. It is the most mischievous way. Let's proceed to examine this question. what is death. There are three things one has to understand: living, love, and death. They all go together. You cannot separate death from love and living. To us, living, as it is a torture, a misery, meaningless existence. The more clever, the more sensitive, the more intellectually, emotionally one is alive, then it has no meaning at all. And seeing that it has no meaning, we invent a meaning. We project a meaning. And according to that meaning, try to live, and which is not living at all. So one has to understand what is living. And living is not this battle between human beings. It's not this battle of competition, of races, of ambition. All the rest of it, I don't have to go into all the details. You all know what life is: the torture, the sorrow, the endless misery and confusion. That's what we call living. And love, as we know, is hedged about with jealousy, suspicion, aggression, violence. And so we don't know what that is either. And obviously, we don't know what death is, because we are frightened. There is much deeper fact, deeper issue involved. That is, the psychological end, the me, the accumulated experience as a human being, with all the knowledge, with all the accumulated information, every form of memory, treasure, cherished, and despised, put away, all that is the center, which is the me, the ego, the person. And it is that center, the psychological center, that one is afraid of losing. And that center is the result of time. And that center creates the space around itself, like all centers do. This microphone exists in space, and it creates a space around itself, which is very simple. And there is the center of me as the me, which has created a space around itself. And death to most of us is the losing of that center. Isn't it? The things that I have known, my family, my friends, all the things that I have accumulated, which is the known. The center is the known. And this is something of which I do not know. And what I'm frightened is losing the known, not of the unknown. And using the known means I'm completely lonely. I'm completely alone in a void. And that's what I'm afraid. Now, is it possible to end that center each day, not having accumulated, then giving, but to die to that center every day, every minute? That is, that center is the accumulation of experience, knowledge. And life is a process of experience, a challenge and a response. You have an experience, a pleasant or unpleasant experience, dangerous or pleasant. And to receive that experience and understand it and die to it immediately, so that there is no memory of as a center which retains that experience. We often do this naturally. But to be aware so intensely without any choice, and to be aware so every experience is totally assimilated, understood, and dissolved. That requires a great deal of energy, which means attention. That is, to die every day to every pleasure, to every thought, every form of accumulation. So that with the dying, the mind is made fresh and the heart renews itself, so that life doesn't become a torture. So, in dying every day to everything that we know, is to love. Otherwise, one can't. Love is not something to be cultivated. Like humility, the moment you cultivate humility, it's a cloak of vanity. And it's only when you die to everything or every experience that you have had that you are living. So living is a movement, fresh, new, innocent, every minute of the day, fresh. And die to the past is to live totally, altogether a different dimension.
Tree, the way that you describe, so that the observer, if he observes, the tree is still there.
Of course, sir.
Here, in the same way, my fear also still be there.
No, you see. First of all, I don't want to get rid of my fear. I want to understand it. To understand something, I must care for it. I must love it. I must be careful with it. And if I say I must get rid of it, I've already acted most foolishly. Because I have to understand the structure and the nature of fear. And to understand it, I must look at it. And I cannot look at it if I say if I want to get rid of, suppress it or sublimate it. I must actually look at it, come into contact, not through a word, but with the fact, with what it actually is. How can the mind, which is so crowded, so everlastingly chattering, how can that mind be empty? I'm afraid there is no way. Any method is the most impractical way. That's why, sir, we said at the beginning, what is important is to listen. And to listen needs attention, care, a certain quality of affection in which there is communion. And then you'll find without an effort it is coming to be. So you see, sir, we are so used to being told what to do. We worship authority. And we have lost all capacities in the world, all intention to find things for ourselves. And in this, of what we are talking about, there is no teacher, there is no method, there is no practice. There is only a perception of what is. And when there is that perception, then the problem is resolved.
Of what significance is hope and faith to living?
What significance is hope and faith to living? I hope you won't think me harsh if I say there is no significance at all. We've had hope. We've had faith. Faith in church, faith in politics, faith in leaders, faith in gurus. Because we wanted to achieve a state of bliss, of happiness, and so on. And hope has nourished this faith. And when one observes through history, through our life, all that hope and faith have no meaning at all. Because what is important is what we are, actually what we are, not what we think we are, or what we think we should be, but actually what is. If we know how to look at what is, that will bring about a tremendous transformation.
The talks and writings of Krishnamurti place him outside of any ordinary category, such as philosopher or religious leader. This has been the seventh in a series of 8 programs. The concluding program in the series is called The End of Conflict.
I'll beg leave now, and I'll request Jain Saab to kindly moderate the session now and invite comments and so on. ठीक है Jain Saab? Unmute yourself, unmute.
Yeah, sir. Good.
Okay, thank you.
Durga Rani, please unmute and say. Please unmute and say.
Yes, sir. It looks there are, absence of main speakers like Harshad Parekh sir and all, who usually, it always comes to the rescue, begins with all the introductory remarks and all. And it looks like Dubey sir is also gone away. No one is, we all can have a more closer discussion also. Why don't you start saying something, sir? Sushil, then sir, say it in Hindi, whatever it is. We all can have, maybe more interactive sessions, sir. Yeah, but I'll start if I want.
You just start first and then we will be.
Okay. Yes, sir. More than anything else, in this video, I think the prominent question is asking us to look at our own lives. Do you agree? He says our lives are completely, it's like what kind of life we are leading in. Does it have any significance? Or as he described in his, talk, that there is no meaning, there is no sense. So I think more than going into what is attention, what is listening and all, maybe we have to ask these questions. The very significance of life. Unless and until we start looking at these questions, I think Krishnamurti, whatever the teaching is, the content of the teaching, we won't be able to grasp with. So do we have these questions? We all feel that, there is no sense to our lives and we are all going in some kind of a, the whatever that's been handed over to us, the competition, the struggles, the sorrows, the conflicts. We just take everything for granted. We think that's how life is to be. But do we ask these questions? If he says significance is not there, in what way does it mean by significance? So I think, according to me, Krishnamurti teaching, it raises a lot of questions in us. It's not rather conforming to whatever he's saying and thinking that we have gone into that state. He asks us to challenge the basic questions of our life, our living. So with that, the whole thing, unfolds. Living, dying, and love. All these three things are integrated. Unless and until we understand one thing, we don't understand the other. And there are many things he has spoken in this video. And he says the total process of living we need to understand. So are we in the direction? Are we working in the direction? Of course, attention, listening, and of course, it's a huge mammoth process, and it can't happen in one go. It is a slow and steady process, and as long as we are connected, as long as our minds keep going back to these questions, as long as we are, this is not like a one-time affair. We have read something, we have heard something, and it's over. I feel he keeps coming back to our own lives. And he compels us to go into these questions. So I feel this is all the state of work we need to do, asking questions and remaining with them and exploring. And there is no ready-made answer there. The findings, each one can find their own, come out with their own findings. And nothing is called a permanent and, right finding. There are findings. Universe works in several ways. But when we are open to listening, maybe our understanding also deepens. This is the same line of approach I usually communicate, sir. So for the timing, I want to stop there. Let me see anybody else raises questions. We can follow it up, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Durga.
Yes,
Is
sir.
there anyone else wanted to comment?
Jain Sahab, everybody is working with the questions. which JK has put forward.
Put
But
forward.
what I feel, unless
Yeah.
these questions become very significant for the individual itself,
Yeah.
up to that time, he will not approach these questions seriously. So seriousness is a first, seriousness and honesty. These two qualities should be there. Then anybody can go further with exploration. Questions put up by JK will not become individual questions unless he feels from his heart that those questions are very significant for him. Then he will go for exploration.
Yeah, very nice to hear,
Thank you.
Kamlesh sir. Just can I say, sir?
Oh, yeah,
It's very,
wonderful. You
it's
please
very
go
good
ahead.
to hear from Kamlesh sir,
Yeah.
because he is such a silent person. He never speaks anything. Good to hear from you, sir.
No,
Yeah,
Dakshin,
but
Dakshin Murthy.
yeah, we can
Dakshin,
follow. Yeah, you can
Dakshin
proceed.
Murthy
Yeah, you
first,
can proceed.
and then
Yeah.
Kamlesh.
Yeah.
Dakshin Murthy,
Can I
sir,
talk?
please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Please
yes,
go
yes.
ahead.
Continue.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Good evening to all. After quite some time, I am attending this indoor session. I was away, so I could not participate. But it is always nice to come back to friends and bond with them and discuss issues. As far as today's program is concerned, my understanding is like this. Krishnaji is talking of a life without effort, how to live a life without effort. And also he is telling effort means is a contradiction. Effort means going away from what is to what should be. And there's a contradiction. And when a contradiction is there, it always leads to conflict. And that conflict is a struggle, and that struggle will lead to sorrow and misery and unhappiness. That is the basic thing he is telling. Particularly, if you go a little deeply into it, for example, I will try to explain with a small example of how the thought works. Suppose I am a scientist. I am working in a laboratory and looking at some bacteria under the microscope. Then I am the subject, and what I am looking at is the object. There's no problem. Subject and object are different. And then thought is able to understand that, and the thought is able to act upon that. That's how the tremendous progress in the physical and technological world, which has come because of thought, has happened. Whereas in the psychological world, that's what Krishnaji is talking about. Here also a small correction. Suppose I am looking at a mountain. I am not the mountain. I am different and mountain is different. Likewise, if I look at a tree, I am not the tree. If I look at a cloud, I am not the cloud. So in the physical world, the subject and object are different. Whereas in the psychological world, when I'm looking at my anger, is that anger different from me? That is the question he is raising. And he is telling, in the psychological world, the thinker, the observer, and the observed are the same. There's no difference because the anger is coming from me, from my internal psychological condition, and the accumulated anger lying in my consciousness is nothing but nothing but me, because the self is nothing but accumulation of all these knowledge and information that we have. He talked about fear. Fear I will exclude here because we already know quite a bit about fear. But what he's telling essentially is, if you approach these psychological matters with fear, fear is a darkness. You will not be able to go further at all. And he is also telling about the relation between living, love, and death. And he is telling you cannot separate them. They all go together. This is actually the a crux of the matter that he has been talking about. Our living is a process of struggle, effort, and contradiction, and nobody is happy about that. We all know there's a lot of misery, there's a lot of tension, and there is a lot of struggle and suffering because of that. So, can I live my life without all these things? To do that, what I should do? The second one he's talking about is love. What he is telling is life is a series of experiences. When an experience is taking place, can I stay with that experience and observe that experience? Can I pursue that experience in a state of attention? Attention means energy. And so what is happening is I live that experience fully. In fact, the word experience means going through completely without accumulation. That means there is no mark of memory. The whole problem is coming because we are not going through the experience completely without leaving a residue. The residue that is left out of the experience is called the memory. And that memory is the past. And that memory is the knowledge known. The center of the knowledge is the self. So when you live a life in such a manner, every experience, you go through it without accumulating. That means there is no residue of memory created in your mind. That means you are dying to that experience the moment the experience is over. Only in such a situation, life is going to be beautiful. And because you are not accumulating, the mind is going to be empty. And along with the mind, the heart will also be empty. Now, the question of love, what he's telling is, we all know love is a very badly used word. Love, we don't know what love is actually. But what he is now telling is, when you live a life without accumulation, that is love. Living a life without accumulation is love. And death, he is talking of the psychological death, the death of the psyche, that is the death of the me, myself, the ego, all those things. So all these three things go together, and only when you live like this, you have a life full of bliss and happiness, and that will result in love taking place in the human heart. That is what I thought I should share with you. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Jain Sahab, you will have to unmute yourself. Jain Sahab, please unmute.
Yeah, I have unmuted. मोहब्बत में फर्क नहीं है जीने मरने का, उसी काफिर को देख के जीते हैं जिस पे दम निकले. तो लविंग, लिविंग, डेथ, all are in one line. Basically, if we understand them, here in Indore we say we die for food. Neither we live for food, but we die for food. It means life is to live. There is no intention, there is no aim. What I feel in person, life is to live. And if you live, you need not to understand even. If you waste time in understanding, when you are going to live? If you just see life, then you know yourself that it is to be lived only. Nothing else it matters here. Modak, you wanted to say?
No, I didn't want to say. Arun Partha wanted to say something.
Please.
Let
Please.
him- Yes, Arun. Arun, sir.
Is he not able to unmute?
He is unmuted, but his voice is not coming. So I
Oh,
will try to
oh yeah,
unmute
please,
Ravi sir,
please,
if he is able
please,
to.
please do a favor, or let Ravi say that.
Yeah,
Then we will come in. Ravi, please unmute and say. And then
Hello,
again,
hello,
yeah.
hello. Yes, am I audible?
Yes, you
Yeah.
are audible.
Hello.
You are audible,
Okay.
Ravi.
See, I saw that video a little bit. The case talking about the observer is the observed. I have no question, no answer, but I would like to explore what observer is. So if the table, if the people were discuss on that, what actually observer is. So what is the whole structure of it? Can we discuss that? That is the only thing I would like to explore.
You would like to say what observer is, or you want others to say what observer is?
Yes, sir. Other people's how. There is only one thing I see that the reaction of individual mind, which is somehow we are missing the life which is so vast before us, and we are connecting with that. What is that thing? Why this individuality in a psychological manner? Uh, we are not able to connect with the whole. I think I would like to see what the whole structure, all the content of that observer, and somehow I don't feel that the case says that the observer is the observed, and the complete inaction. The complete inaction, I still can agree with that, but the observer is the observer. When you say the observer is the observed, I think that is the I see that when the mind is blocked down, then there is no opening if the observer is the observed. Then it's finished. So I see that then how can there be light which is talking if the mind is blocked? So I see that to me it's not I think not up to the mark this statement. Maybe I am wrong. So, but it's not about K. It's about exploration. And one thing, okay, let's see what other people says.
Okay.
Arun, are you able to say something? Voice is coming or not?
Arun sir is unmuted. I have unmuted him, but his voice is not coming.
Something is problem.
I think it's problem which is.
Anybody else wanted to comment on it?
Dakshina Murthy sir wants to say something.
Okay. Welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Ravi is asking about what is the observer. This is one of the fundamental things that Krishnaji has pointed out. And observer is the bundle of memories that you have. Observer is the all your hurts, your feelings, your agonies, your fears, your pleasures, your hurts, all these things put together. Basically, it is a bundle of memories, is a bundle of emotions, is a bundle of feelings. This is the observer. Krishnaji calls it the I, me, myself, or ego. That's why generally everybody accepts the word ego. This ego is the center of the knowledge that we have. In fact, the ego is the sensor saying this is not correct, this is right, this is good, this is bad, this is okay, this is not okay. All these things is the ego. So, to understand this ego, that is the center of Krishnaji's teaching, and that is called the self-knowledge. Unless self-knowledge is there, you will not be able to understand the self, understand this ego, and dissolve the ego. That nobody could do except great people like Lord Buddha Krishnaji, etc., some of these Jesus Christ and all these people. But we all have to make an attempt to understand what that ego is. And here, another important point is, in the psychological matters, observer is the observed. That means what? If I become angry, normally we say, I am angry. But Krishnaji says, you can't say I am angry. When you say I am angry, you are on one side, anger is on the other side. The already observer and observed, the difference has come. But you are anger, you are that. Because it's part of you, it's part of your consciousness. So how to go about this anger, how to understand this anger, that's what he has been talking about extensively. In fact, observer is the observed is one of the most important points that Krishnaji has pointed out to the humankind. And if you understand that completely and fully, there's not much to understand because everything is in its place. That's what I thought I would share with my friend here. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Arun sir, continue.
Yeah, please.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wait, I forgot what I was supposed to ask. Let me take a while. Okay.
That sort of 5 questions are there.
Okay. No, it
You
was a
just
very
wait.
simple thing. Okay. Yeah,
If you just
actually, what I wanted to know is Krishnaji normally he emphasizes a lot about thought. So when you see, I mean, like the me and when we say I want to be something and I don't want to be something else, like so there is always that kind of conflict. And I think when effort is used, effort is nothing but thought itself, right? It cannot be something else. When we try to change, it should be thought itself, trying to modify something. So that will definitely not help because you are trying to change the thief itself, or whatever the thief is there, and the thief is trying to act upon himself to correct himself. I think that is what he keeps emphasizing on. So if that is the case, what is the other way out? I mean, I'm putting a question. I'm just having a doubt, like because he doesn't go beyond that. He just says like dying to everything and all that. So death also, if you see, it should be a kind of, for the thought, it should be basically some kind of an imagination, right? I think we have not really understood death also. Death could be just an imagination. It is how we perceive things, like, okay, body is there, we see some, because we have seen many deaths. So we feel like when somebody dies, the body goes and all, but psychologically, I think we are not aware of really what death is. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Durga Rani, please unmute and say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you haven't muted me. Good thing. Yes, sir. I just would like to express my views about regarding this Arun Partha and previously Ravi Kaushal. As far as I just could understand. Like Arun just now, he was saying, thought is nothing but imagination. But I feel the whole world is struggling with the thought, and thought is the one, Krishnaji says, it is the main element why the world is what it is now. It is the main element which causes the major wars and a thought, and he puts everything in that huge bag. So you just can't say that thought is just imagination. I don't agree there with that. Thought is the one which compels you to act in each and every day. That moment you get up, how you go about your day-to-day duties, your job, your interaction with your neighbors, your friends, your family, what you do, the instrument you use is thought. How can you just say that thought is just an imagination? That's one thing I would like to say. And you said, Mr. Arun, like, effort is, you shouldn't be after effort. But I feel more than not going after effort, you need to understand the contradictions. He says we put effort because we don't even realize that we are living a contradictory life. When there is a conflict, when there is a contradiction, and they basically arise because there is always a discrepancy between what is happening and what one wants to do. Basically, the major discrepancy happens there. What is and what should be. So the major conflict in one's life, major contradiction is in one's life, in one's actions, in one's day-to-day living. One has to see that. And when you start understanding the whole process of it, the conflict and the contradiction in your life, maybe there is no need for effort. That's what he says. There is no need for effort where fear is concerned, where dying is concerned, where living is concerned. He says that you need to understand the basic what is what you are. The content of your own consciousness. So that's all I have to say for the time being. And regarding Mr. Ravi Kaushal, he was asking what is observer and observed. I just would like to say from my point of view, sir. So I feel observer and observed is not a one-time affair. Because whatever challenges in life, you never know what the next moment we are going to face. The challenge, the demand in life, it's a one huge dynamic process. And whenever the challenges come, whenever the fear comes, we are so used to fear. I think fear is one element that so predominantly dictates our lives. Fear and fear related to fear, we all have end up in misery, the sorrow, and which we accepted as part of our life. Maybe that is our life is also, because we are so marooned and we are so deeply immersed in that. It's very difficult for us to think anything else. So rather than thinking about something else, so let's deal with what we have now. The fear that comes with us, whenever there are new challenges in life comes, even the smallest ones, there may not be bigger challenges. So how am I acting? Am I acting from my center, the past accumulated knowledge and all that? Or how am I facing what is? What is always new, always fresh? Till the last moment of your death, you have to keep facing all these things. So maybe Krishnaji says, observe and observed is not a one-time phenomena. So having understood that, I am not separate from what I am going through. I am not separate from the fear. I am not separate from the misery which I am going through. It's not out there. It is in me. So unless and until I sit with my fear, he says, then assimilate. Don't put it under the carpet. Don't suppress it. Don't suppress it. He says specifically there. Assimilate it. Understand it. Then it gets, it gets diluted. What is the word? He uses 3 words. Assimilation, understanding, and then dissolving. So then it happens. And for that, you need to have extraordinary care and attention to be with that. He says you have to be with that, then you understand the whole thing. So that's all I have to say, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam, I have one question. Actually, you mentioned that, thoughts projection into the future is nothing but imagination, right? Which causes fear. Do you agree to that? Durga ma'am?
Yes.
See, thought projection about the future, which is imagination, causes fear. So thought also is a part of, thought is imagination, right?
How can thought be imagination?
No, I'm saying, the psychological part of it. Psychological part of it.
I feel it is not a rhetorical dialogue, I believe. I hope, Arun, Mr. Arun. We are asking, we are dealing with the day-to-day life situations. We are not having some rhetorical discussions.
But psychologically only we are threatened, no, madam. No, day-to-day thought, working, brushing my teeth and all is a normal thing. But the threatening, which we have in our psychologically, like what will happen to me? We are talking about that. So that part of it, what will happen to me is mostly when I see myself in the future, I felt it is an imagination because it causes a kind of fear. Maybe I'm missing out something.
Fear can be of many. It comes with all packages. You're describing one aspect of fear. There are fear of so many things. Every day I think we die 100 kinds of deaths. What will people say? You want to do something, the other people will say something else. Your parents will object to it. Your instincts want to say do something, and there are so many hundred objections coming all out your way. So when you're dealing with your day-to-day situations, so how you're saddled with all these things? Can we start from there? Not portraying some imaginary situation. It's not yes. What I think of future, yeah, everything is everybody loves indulging in future. But apart from that, day-to-day situations also, don't we come across all these small nuggets of fear that constantly, perpetually, keep triggering us? So can we deal with all of them also? Can we see all of them also? I think that's the question.
Pradeep sir, sir, do you want to say or comment something?
A few lines. Of course, everybody has spoken about it, and most of it is right. It must be right. What I say is what he's telling in this video is, can you see what is? Can you perceive what is? So the question is, to me, naturally, this question to me, what is what is? My question is, what is what is? Whether I am included in what is? Must be, because psychological domain, observer is observed, is strictly to that who is observed also. So what is, and the role of freedom from the known. Durga ji was talking about openness. One has to be open. So this also speaks a lot about the same thing, freedom, unless until you are not free of thoughts, and thought means past and memories working in you and your experiences and all that. Unless until you are free of that, which then only you can be open. So this openness is required. It is something like emptiness in me. I am ready to receive moment to moment life as it is. Then whether I am a part of what is, definitely must be, unless until I am included every moment. The life is changing moment to moment. Everything is see the dynamics of life, and me included. So when the things are this changing moment, and there comes the importance of attention. So you will find that all those words which he emphasized on, attention, freedom from the known, memories, experiences, and then so-called weaving of future, which Arun was talking about, or Durga ji was explaining, that the future imagination based on past, again thought, based on thought, I want to relive the same thing. Then you start, can I imagine, or time factor automatically comes, the so-called future. In timelessness, time comes in, you see. So we have to see what is this, what is, and what pointing at. It me all the time, me, the dynamics of me changing all the time. So this is what I feel. I am outside Indore, I am in Pune, so my video may not be that good, my audio may not be that good. Sorry for that, but thank you very much. This is what I feel like. Thank you. Thank you, friends.
Thank you, Pradeep. Somebody asked Krishnamurthy, what is the secret of your life? He said, don't mind whatever happens. Don't mind whatever happens.
Because mind is the real problem.
Yeah, definitely. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. And mind is the old one. Mind cannot reply anything.
Yes.
And mind is so you cannot face challenge with mind.
At one place, Jain Sahab, JK has said, no part of mind is unconditioned.
Yes. Very right.
Conditioned mind. Mind is always conditioned.
Mind is always conditioned.
Right.
and therefore it is minding.
Ah,
May I say something, sir?
At times he said that there is no present. He said that also, there is no present.
definitely.
Now it becomes real problem in monsoon.
Yes, definitely. Because everything is basically present. Present means it is dependent upon the past. Therefore, it is being said as present.
The, all,
Yes, Ravi.
all the
But the
Ravi, sir.
main thing is very clear what past does to your present, so-called present. Because this is also, time is a creation of mind. Past, present, and future is in my mind. It is not there otherwise. So we have to be careful, attentive, right at the moment when I'm talking.
When I'm perceiving.
What is? So
when I'm perceiving what is, at that time one should be very much attentive.
if you are attending what is, then everything is solved.
Right.
If you are attending.
Okay. Ravi sir.
Yes, sir. I'm saying, sir, to Prasad, that this is Pradeep, this what is this is what is right now. So, and one thing, when you're saying that the mind is conditioned, I mean, how you say that? Are you different from the mind? Are you not bifurcating you and the mind? So these are some, I think, things I see. And the other person is here, is talking about all that is not the thought, imagination. And imagination is one content of the thought. I see that. And thought has, the useful in life, in our functional life. There is a use of thought, and the thought in the psychological area, when he says that I will control my anger and I will control my hate and all these, the bifurcation of the center from the thing, and always controlling the things, all the psychological contents, the center is controlling the thing. So this is one thing. You can see what is, and without one can see what is. One can see the anger without the thought process of that observer, and perceive that. And that perception gives you a new space in your consciousness. And one thing, this is one thing. And another thing that Durga is saying, that this thing called, observer is a day-to-day, dealing. You have to deal with day-to-day life. So is Krishnamurti dealing with this observer today? So is there a movement in K of that thing? That is one thing. And one thing, there is the observer is very subtle, very, very subtle. I see that even if we perceive something like sometimes Harshad sir is saying that when the mind stops and all that, then I always question how the mind is stopping. So this is one thing, and the very understanding when you perceive something, and when you you talk from that understanding, when you talk from that understanding, from that experience, isn't it the same movement of the observer? So even I see that even perception and understanding to me it seems like in our mind I see that the knowledge and the known to known movement. I know that's the movement of the center. We talk from the knowledge. That movement is also from knowing to knowing is like a spiral. It's all the scientists all moving from known to known, and all that this thing the understanding. Understanding is also, I see that it is the observer is very subtle, but it is also like a spiral. The observer will still remain because there is someone, there's some entity which understand. So I see that all these things. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. My question is still remain. What is the whole structure of observer?
May I say a few things?
Yes, you continue.
Because The interesting question came to me, whether speaking and seeing can go together. Because when I speak, I am always speaking as thought, which is a past, maybe a very recent past, a few microseconds back, but it is past anyway. So whether both the things, seeing, perceiving, and speaking,
Okay.
whether it can go together.
It is.
If you know, if you may I answer? If you know how to think, not what to think, then there may be you know the art that how to go into the question without the observer.
Method.
You can say you can take it as a method, or and there is a click. It all depends on you.
This can be.
Jain sir, you will have to unmute yourself. Jain sir, please unmute yourself.
Durga Rani wanted to say something.
I tried
yes,
to
sir.
unmute. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So, sir, if somebody else is saying, let them speak. I think I'm speaking too much today since the main speakers are missing. It's okay. Can I speak right now?
वर्मा जी फॉर यू, वो मुखातिब है मेरे सामने, कोई उनको देखे कि उनसे बात करे.
Exactly.
Question like this.
क्या बात है सुशील, वाह.
कोई उनको देखे कि उनसे बात करे.
बहुत बढ़िया. बहुत बढ़िया. आदाब, आदाब अर्ज़ है. बहुत अच्छे. आज तो तुमने बिल्कुल ये अपना पाया है ना. Moment. Very nice. Nice.
Durga, you wanted to say something?
Yes, sir. I just want to say two things. First of all, I would like to appreciate, Sushil Jain sir for bringing such a beautiful quote of Krishnaji. I don't mind whatever happens. I think that sums it up all that. हम लोगों का पूरा जो जिंदगी है ना, हम लोग उस मकाम पे नहीं आ सकते हैं क्योंकि हम लोगों का जो फियर्स है ना, इतना ज्यादा फियर्स है कि व्हाट विल हैपन, ये होगा वो होगा, ये सब फियर्स ही तो है. एंड वी डोंट वांट टू लूज आवर डियर वंस. मेरा ये चले जाएगी तो क्या होगा, and this
may I say
statement
something?
is so beautiful. I think this is how our rooted our lives are. हम लोग कहने के लिए बहुत बात करते हैं, but we don't want to let go of ourselves at all. मेरा ये पोजीशन चला जाएगा, मेरा आइडेंटिटी चला जाएगा, what will happen to my dear ones, all these worries, concerns perpetually bother us, sir. And in fact, if you expand the statement of Krishna Ji, I don't mind whatever happens. So वो एक state है. If we just have to broaden the statement, there was a old quotation and sayings in all the books. कहते हैं कि everything is predestined in this world. I don't know whether you people agree with that or not. And हम लोग समझते हैं हम ही लोग करता है, हम ही लोग we are the actors and we need to act upon them. That's वहां से हमारा problem शुरू हो जाता है. We feel I'm responsible by my family. I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to safeguard, I have to protect. वो जो करना है तो थोड़ा बहुत तो करना भी है. You just can't sit idle also. But लेकिन at the root cause, if you look at it, life just goes by. But at the same time, you can't be insensitive to a lot of things that are happening all around you. ये सब डिस्टेंट है करके हमारा सामने इतना ज्यादा करप्शन चल रही है, इतना ज्यादा क्लटर हो रहे हैं, and you think something happening very badly before you. That time you can't say no, it's all predestined also. You feel like acting. So there comes a problem. How to act. Or like he says, when there is an action before you, you just act. Like when you see somebody is getting hurt, somebody is having problem in crossing the road. उस टाइम आप इतना नहीं सोचते हैं. You just out of your humanitarian concern, you just go and act. But लेकिन problems जब आता है, हम लोग अपनी life में अपनी psychological domain में रहते हैं. Because we have a lot of time on our hands. So हमारा mind का एक predisposition है, वो constant worry होना, constant इधर-उधर घूमते रहना. So that's the problem with our life, with our minds, the chattering mind. So he says, He tells us to focus into all those directions. So whatever may happen, that's why I don't mind. That's why Krishna ji ko, but at the same time, you shouldn't lose your sensitivity. You shouldn't lose.
Voice is not coming.
His voice is not
Voice
coming.
is not coming. Durga Rani, you have unmuted yourself. Please unmute first.
मैं ही जिंदा नहीं हूँ, मैं ही नहीं हूँ, तो how can I perceive what is? What is what I am? All my center, all my accumulated thing, all my conditioning, what all I had been told from my childhood. ये करना है, ये वो नहीं करना है, this is right, yes, this is wrong, this is bad. वो जो हमको शुरू से सिखाया जाता है, जो हमारा एक पर्सना बन चुकी है, I feel that's what is. और उसी प्रिज्म से हम लोग दुनिया को देखते हैं, उसी प्रिज्म से हम सबको एसेस करते हैं, जज करते हैं. तो कृष्ण जी says, before seeing with that prism, try to understand what the prism is made of. How you are made of all those things. He sensitizes us into go into that direction. Understand your conditioning. Whatever that's been told may not be applicable to you this present day world. Maybe you are told wrong things also. So that what I feel what is our persona. That's all I just want to make clear. This is the last time I'm speaking, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Is there anybody else wanted to comment? Pradeep sir, you wanted to say something?
Thank you so much. I have said enough.
So should I end this discussion?
That I cannot tell you.
I'm saying that, hello, am I audible, sir?
Deep down, you wanted to continue it. The difference of Krishnamurthy and others is simply this one. He believed not in continuity. He just said there is no continuity. Mind is making continuity only. There is, in real life, there is no continuity. Mind is making it as if there is something is going on.
Yes.
We are seeing continuity only, Jain sir.
Yes.
We are able to perceive only continuity. We are not able to perceive the stoppage between continuity. That is the problem.
With this problem, should we end it?
Ravi sir was wanting to say something like at least one sentence, Ravi sir, and then we will see what we can do.
One sentence
yes,
from Ravi.
Okay, I'm Durga Rani is talking about this fear and all the content of the fear and so deeper in us and all that. But always I see that Durga Rani ji, whenever she's repeating the thing, she's communing herself.
Ravi sir, please say. Ravi sir, please say what you feel basically. Don't.
Resolve that. See that there is the root cause is attachment. Whenever the fear is there, see the fear and the root of the fear as it is, and then I think you will not talk more about on. Then there is some change. I feel so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ravi. Modak, please end it now. Please end it. Please end it. Yeah, sir, please say one sentence, please. Most welcome.
Fear is, what is fear? Anytime. Fear is a thought. Always. It's a thought.
Yeah.
And which is not there. Just like a ghost. भूत की तरह से भूतकाल हमारे अंदर घुसा हुआ है. You see, what is fear? Is bhoot. It is not there right now. We are discussing mostly because somebody told something, those words we go on discussing. Right now, we are not fearing about anything. Otherwise, everybody knows psychologically fear of losing the known is fear, or continuity, you want to continue. So all these fears are as thought are there, and they're thoughts only at that moment. Once you realize, even at that moment, that this is a thought, it is out. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Modak, please end it now.
Okay, thanks all.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.